Hey guys, Josh here, and it has been a while. I apologise for that. I think my last video was that sort of legacy first impressions video, and that was probably like half a month ago now. It's been a while since my last video, but I'm trying to get back to kind of normal uploading. I think I said that last time. It didn't quite pan out how I planned. But I am actually going away next week, so hopefully after that, it is pretty much the summer holidays after that. So hopefully then I can get back into a normal upload schedule. To be honest, like I've been quite busy, and so I haven't really had time to play, which is why I haven't actually done many videos. I've just been logging on to do ports every day. That's about it. But also I just wasn't particularly like feeling the need to play either, and just 'cause I didn't have a lot of time, there's nothing I could really do just like quickly like play for half an hour. It's more like if I wanted to play I had to do like 2 hour bossing trips or something, which is not really something I wanted to do. So that's why I kind of haven't been logging on, but hopefully in the near future I'll be able to do a lot more on the game now that I'm kind of a lot less busy. But I just want to talk about some random stuff that's been happening in RuneScape, I guess. Mostly RS3, but the first thing I will mention for old school actually is just this new continent, which actually looks so amazing. Continent expansion is what they're calling it. So essentially it's just adding like a new landmass to RuneScape. This will increase the landmass by 50%, and it really just look amazing. Like there's loads of new skilling spots, there's a new port, there's like this combat city kind of area. Everything about this just looks so good. I can't wait to see like what it actually looks like when it's in the game. I do wish something like this would come into RS3. I think it'd be a lot more work just because of like the updated graphics and that kind of thing, but it would be really amazing to see something like this. I guess you can kind of argue like the Elf City will be like this. I mean, there's a lot of content in there, but in terms of like actually just increasing the landmass of the game, that could be really interesting if they were to do something like RS3. So I have to wait and see. Maybe like after the Elf City, that could be their next major content release. But that is looking awesome. I can't wait to try out this new content in old school. So next thing is, I guess, the update yesterday, I think it was, or the day before. So the new Rhino thing, I think Michael may have covered this. The whole Rhino thing, I think it's just a charity event. There's not too much to talk about. But there are there buffs for skilling. There's 5% buff and 10% buff depending on the Rhino you have. And you can also use the Rhinos as a pack yak. So you can store your 30 items as well if you have 96 summoning. So that's all just a nice little update, I guess. I mean, they're not really the main updates of the month. The main one, well, the main two actually, is legacy mode and the combat improvements that come along with that. And also, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but Arathox, no, I don't think that was close, but basically the new spider boss is coming out, so that is so amazing. It looks absolutely awesome. I can't wait to try that, especially because it's a solo boss, so I can actually do that on my own. But I think me and Michael are going to duo that a fair bit as well. But that does look absolutely amazing. I can't wait to try this out. Hopefully make a good bit of bank from this, because I had decided just to go like down the PVM route once again. I'm kind of stopping skilling for a moment just to do a whole lot of bossing, so this looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to try this out. I'm gonna guess that like legacy mode will be next week and then the boss will be after that, because they kind of need the legacy and like the combat improvements to do the new boss, just because there wasn't really much point developing the boss twice, for like the current combat system and then the one for where the abilities have changed and that kind of thing. So I'm assuming legacy will come out first and then we'll get the new boss towards the end of the month. So that's really cool. And along with the new boss, there's also in-game timers for every boss fight, so stuff like QED, stuff like next, you can time it in-game to see how long the kills are, so that's quite a useful feature as well. The other thing in the high scores, I guess the main thing, is Twitch integration, which isn't really going to affect many people, but like for us, as we do YouTube and we do stream every now and again, and it's been a while since we streamed. We definitely have to get back into that as well in the summer, but it just means you can stream like straight from RuneScape without using stuff like XSplit or OBS, so you can just stream straight from the game to your channel, and it just makes it all really easy. So that could be quite useful. I'll definitely try that out, like because I mean like stuff like OBS kind of does use a fair bit of a processor, so hopefully this will be a bit less like processor intensive, so I can run the game a bit better and stream a bit higher quality. So we'll see how this works. Hopefully it could be really good and definitely help with the live streaming scene. But that's kind of like all the updates this month. So the last thing I'll talk about is legacy mode, because obviously that is being released this month and it really does look quite good. I say quite because it is a lot of fun. It's just obviously like it's not pre-EOC and it was never going to be. They've said multiple times it wasn't going to be. It's just I would have liked it to be a bit closer, and there's some things that they are just not going to budge on, which is kind of the problem. And like I think some of those things would benefit both the EOC and legacy, but they said that they're just not going to change these kind of things. So stuff like protection prayers, tear escape as people call it, soul split healing, the strength stat contribution, that kind of thing, like those things could really actually help the EOC as well, but they're just not going to change those things, unfortunately. Stuff like stats contributing more to damage, like I know a lot of people won't agree with this, but I would say it should be like 60% stats, 40% gear, because pre-EOC it was like, I'm not sure what the ratio was, but it's probably around that, and you always strive for the highest gear, so focusing the balance onto gear didn't really do much. You still go for the highest gear, it's just you're now required to get the highest gear rather than having the option to use lower level gear, probably not doing as well, but you'd actually have a chance. So I do prefer stats doing a lot more. Stuff like tear escape, firstly, like when people say tear escape, there were tears pre-OC, everyone knows that, it's just they weren't enforced, and that's what the term tear escape means. I mean, like stuff like, I'm just trying to think, sort of like a fighter torso, it was a fairly low level, but it was still like pretty good. If you were poor, you could still use that to PVM, and it was like level requirements were purely a requirement, it didn't determine stats, and like everything in a tier had different stats to kind of balance it out. So like Dragon Claws had a really powerful spec, so they're absolutely shocking in terms of stats. They probably need some balancing, like the D-Skimmy was probably the best dragon weapon for training. The long was only used if you couldn't use the D-Skimmy. The whip was then the best after that. God swords were really good. But there's a lot more variety pre-EOC for weapons, that kind of thing. So it's a shame they're not going to change that kind of thing either. Protection prayers doesn't need to go back to 100%, but I've seen some really cool ideas of like scaling protection prayers from like 50% at level 34, I think you get it at, to like 75% at maybe like level 90. That's a really cool idea, and like having 75% protection prayers isn't too bad. Like I don't think it'd break too many mechanics, there's just some small things they have to change, but like I mean they should have looked at stuff like that. I think they've kind of they've locked these features in, but I do wish some of them would be changed. But overall, like Legacy does look really good. I'm definitely going to play it a lot. The main thing I'm trying to do at the moment on Legacy is get a solo next kill, which is really quite difficult. The main problem is blood. Like food is not an issue anymore, with brews back to not really their former glory, but at least healing 100 per brew. It means you have like 2.5 rocktails per invent slot. Like you're not going to run out of food. That is so good, but it's just blood. You have to do a whole DPS with like when you can't, essentially. Like I'm trying to Steel Titan, that's probably my next tactic. Steel Titan, Darlan was absolutely wrecking with Keswick Maul, so maybe I should try and Dryger it possibly. We'll see how it goes, but that is my main goal at the moment, to get solo next skill on Legacy, so hopefully I can get that fairly soon. But that is pretty much it. Hopefully I'll have more videos to come in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later.